Hello guys, in this video I will continue the solution of ISL Aptitude Test 2018. So without any delay I will start. In previous video I have covered some problems. Now next is that you have a system like this and block A, position point A, and it goes surface. It is a block of mass 100 gram and it is frictionless. The block falls under the effect of gravity on a floor. This height is 5 meter. There will be friction after point B. So up to this region it is frictionless. After that there is friction, and the coefficient of friction in that region is mu equal to 0.5. How long will that block move? So see, in such problems it is useful to apply conservation of energy. Let's apply conservation of energy. So at point A there is no kinetic energy. At point A initially there was no kinetic energy, so K was 0. So K was 0 plus there was potential. If I choose this as my reference point, always remember that potential energy depends on the reference point. So I choose O as my reference point. The potential energy of block at point A will be mgh. If this height is h equal to, and at ground level there will be some kinetic energy at this point B. So say half mvv square and no potential energy up to this region. So this apply you will get Vb equal to under root 2gh, and this is solve 2 into what is equal to g. Suppose g is 10 and h is 5, so it is simply 10 meter per second. Okay, at this point now this velocity will work as the initial velocity, and the friction, the frictional force will be there. The value of friction force will be mu times n. So just put the value 0.5, and is the normal reaction. Normal reaction will be just simply the weight of the block. It is simply mg. It is the normal reaction. So what is the so this friction will retard the block. So the retardation is negative f upon m. It is simply negative 0.5 g, and value of g is simply 10. I have chosen my value of g to be 10, so it is minus 5 meter per second square. It is the retardation. So the distance that it will travel is simply d equal to u square upon 2a negative. Okay, you might have studied about this formula. It is called stopping distance. This stopping distance. So the stopping distance is simply this, and this value will work as u, negative u square means 10 square 100 upon 2a. A is minus 5. Negative cancel. So It is simply 10 meter approximately. So option is correct. Okay. Always remember, whenever there is a problem like this, a block falls and the path is not straight, there is a random path. It may be zigzag motion, spiral, helical, or any kind of path. Just use the conservation energy. But you should remember that conservation of mechanical energy is applicable for the conservative force. If any non-conservative force is there, you have to take that into account as well, and you have to add some terms that will involve the work. The next problem. Due to insufficient time, I will cover the portion very speedily. So try to understand. There is a wire of infinite length which is passing through the axis of a solenoid of infinite length and radius 1 centimeter. So there is a solenoid like this, and a wire is passing through the axis of the solenoid. Both are infinite. Okay. It is the radius of the solenoid. The wire carries a current of 45 ampere. The solenoid creates a magnetic field along the direction of current. The magnetic field produced by solenoid in the same direction as the direction of current flowing through the wire is the vector mode equal to 4 millitesla. So what will be the magnitude of magnetic field at 3 mm outside the wire? So it is very simple. Just see. The solenoid creates magnetic field in this direction. B solenoid, as for solenoid. Now apply the right hand rule to find the direction of magnetic field created by wire. It is something like this. Current is from this direction, so magnetic field will be in this direction. Okay, it will be like this. Okay, I consider my point at here. The magnetic field will come outside. Out means dot. BW, magnetic field created by wire. So it is coming out here, dot. BW field is going there, and magnetic field created by wire is in this direction. So both are mutually perpendicular. You can also visualize this by looking at the upper view. If you see it from the upper side, the diagram will look like this. BW vector and BS vector, and the resultant is this. Complete the parallelogram and take diagonal. It is the net magnetic field. In a solenoid, the magnetic field remains same throughout the solenoid. So BS is same everywhere. Now find the magnitude of magnetic field at this point due to wire. So BW, magnetic field created by wire is mu naught I upon 2 pi r. R is the distance of the point from the wire. Mu naught upon 2 pi is 2 into 10 to power minus 7. Value of I is 45 over r. R is 3 mm. So 3 into 10 to power minus 3. 10 to power minus 4 Tesla, or it is simply 3 into 10 to power minus 3 Tesla. 10 to power minus 3 is called mini. So it is 3 milli Tesla. It is the magnetic field created by wire at this point. So the net magnetic field B net is simply under root BW square plus BS square. under root 3 square plus 4 square is simply 5 millitesla. So it will be the magnitude of net magnetic field at a point 3 mm away from the axis of solenoid. That's the answer. So option D is correct. It is given that a planet of mass small m moves in an elliptical orbit, not in circular orbit, but in elliptical orbit around the sun of mass ms, and the maximum and minimum distance of the planet from the sun are r max and r mean respectively. It is the maximum distance of the planet from the sun. It is the orbit of the planet, and sun is somewhere here at the focus by Kepler's law, and this distance is r minimum, and this distance is r minimum, and this distance is r maximum. This is the major axis, and the length of major axis I am writing it as 2a, and it is the minor axis. However, it is not relevant to the problem, but I am telling it. There are some problems in which the ratio of time period is asked, and r minimum, r maximum are given. So according to the Kepler's third law, a square is proportional to the a cube. A is the length of the major axis, semi-major axis, and in problems we have r minimum and r maximum. So how to find the ratio of time periods of two different planets or any celestial orbit? So you can see that r minimum plus r maximum is the length of the major axis. So a is the same means half. So a is the half length of the major axis, which is r minimum plus r maximum, and by putting these values you can simply find the ratio of time periods if someone asks. Okay, it is not relevant to the problem, but I am telling it. Now let's come to the problem. For simplicity, I will write the mass of planet as small m, mass of sun as capital M. Now say this point is A and this point is B. These points are the extremities, and they are called apsidal point. Apsidal. Apsidal point or axis, and that is the points at which the distance of the planet are maximum and minimum are called apogee and perigee, or aphelion point or perihelion point. So someone can say that the distance of the aphelion point and the distance of perihelion point from the sun. Okay, so you should also know that terms as well. So say this point is A, this point is B. So I will call this distance as RA and this as RB. Okay, because it is not convenient for me to write complete R max R mean, so I will simply write RA RB. Okay, I have to calculate the angular momentum of the planet. So the planet is somewhere here or anywhere. The angular momentum of the planet with respect to the sun. I will choose my origin, that point, with respect to whom I have to find the angular momentum, angular velocity, or torque, or anything. Okay, so I will choose sun as my origin. That's my reference point. So it is, the motion is under central force. It doesn't matter whether it is an electrostatic force, gravitational force, or any force. The motion, if a body moves under central force, then its mechanical energy will be conserved, because all central forces are conservative forces. Okay, and gravitational force is a central force, so the mechanical energy will be conserved. And also, if a body moves under the action of a central force, its angular momentum will also be conserved. Okay, it is not especially for the gravitational force. Even if electrostatic force is there, the same law will apply on that. Okay, so if any central force is there, the angular momentum, total mechanical energy are conserved, and the orbit is a conic section. The motion of a body under influence of a central force is a conic section. It may be circle, ellipse, parabola, hyperbola. Okay, but in general it is a conic section. Now I have to find the angular momentum of the planet with respect to the sun. So now see, angular momentum is conserved. So I remember that there was a comment on my video that the angular momentum should be 0, because L vector is r cross p, which is simply mv vector, and v is the dr upon dt, so it should be 0. R cross r, there will be r cross r or something like that. But no, it is wrong. I have discussed in my video that you can write the velocity vector in polar coordinates as vr r cap plus v theta theta cap. Just cross with r vector. Therefore, L vector is r. Now, L vector is r cap. R is the magnitude and r cap is the unit vector along that. Mass is a constant and scalar, so I will write it here because it does not alter the calculation. Cross Vr r cap plus v theta theta cap. Now it will be m times r cap just cross by r cap, so it will be Vr r cap cross r cap plus v theta r cap cross theta cap. R cross r is null vector because the same cross of same vector will be 0, so it will be 0, but these two are not same vector. Okay, this value will not be 0, so it is simply mr v theta in the direction of r cap cross theta cap, and r cap cross theta cap is phi cap. In 3D, if you study out the spherical polar coordinate system, it will be phi cap. So the phi cap is emerging out from this board. So the magnitude of the angular momentum mod L is v theta r. V theta is called the transverse component of the velocity, means the velocity which is perpendicular to the radius vector or position vector. That's why we often write it as v perpendicular into r, just by definition. However, if there is azimuthal component of velocity, then it will change. There will be some additional term of the azimuthal component as well. So I want to mention that the angular momentum is not 0. That someone was commenting on my video. Now let's come to the point. The magnitude of the angular momentum will be same throughout the orbit at any point, both in magnitude and direction as well. So I choose this point A and B, and suppose the motion is in this direction. Suppose I don't know what is the direction of motion, but I choose it to be like this. So body comes here and it is like this. Here the velocity vector is this, say VA vector, and here it is this VB vector. Okay, so now the angular momentum, the magnitude, I am writing the magnitude. It will be simply m times VARA, because velocity is perpendicular to the position vector, so it is simply VA. Okay, if it is not perpendicular, I will take a component equal to same as the MVB RB. I know value of M. I have RA as R minimum and RB, but I don't have VA or VB, so I have to find the value of VA or value of VB. So just apply the conservation of mechanical energy. At point A, the kinetic energy is half m VA square plus and the potential energy is minus G m upon RA. And at point B, the kinetic energy is half m VB square minus G m upon RB. Just simplify it. It will come here, it will go there. So 1 upon 2m VA square minus VB square equal to, it will go there, so GMM times 1 upon RA minus 1 upon RB. It will cancel, this M will cancel, and I can write it as VA square minus VB square equal to GM times RB minus RA upon RB. I have a relation between RA and RB, and I have a relation between RA and RB. I have two equations and two variables, so I can solve. Just substitute the value of VB. I want value of VA or VB. If I want the value of VA, I will eliminate VB. So in order to eliminate VB, I can write the value of VB as, from this equation, it will be, M will cancel each other, it will cancel, so VB is VA RA upon RB. Just substitute, so it will be VA square minus VA square RA square over RB square equal to GM RB minus RA upon RB. I can take VA square as common, so it is simply VB. It is VA square 1 minus RA square over RB square, or I can write it as RB square over RB square equal to GM RB minus RA over RB. Now RA there and 1 will be cancelled. It is RB plus RA into RB minus RA. Because the identity that A plus B into A minus B equal to A square minus B square. So it is simply RB plus RA into RB minus RA. So RB minus RA and RA minus RA will cancel each other. So I will get VA square as GM. There is 1 RB is there, it will go there into RB, and RB minus RA will cancel each other, and RA plus RB will come here. So it will be RA plus RB, and R is there. So this, there was a 2 also. 2. This was 2. Yeah, 2. Yeah, 1, 2. It will go there. So there is a 2 also. So value of VA is square root of this quantity. So I find the angular momentum. Angular momentum is I equal to MVA RA. M times value of VA is square root of this quantity. So square root 2G capital M RV over RA plus RB into RA square root times RA. So just simplify it. Small m is the square root of m square. So I can write it as under root 2G capital M small m square, and RB is okay. RA means under root RA into under root RA. So it is simply RA over RA plus RB. It will be the angular momentum of the body. So it is the angular momentum of the planet with respect to the sun. I know that it is not easy problem, and it is not a fair work to ask such problems for +2 level students, but you can do it by the principles that you have studied in your academic at the level of class 11 and 12. Now next, there is a problem based on the PN junction diode and Zener diode. It is a quite simple problem, and you can do it. I will just state the problem. Which of the following statement is correct for PN junction diode and a Zener diode? First, the depletion layer in Zener diode is larger, and the junction field across a normal PN junction diode is greater. Just let me make you remember that in a PN junction diode there are holes and electron. The speed is n, so there are holes. There are holes, majority of holes. If you join them, then the electrons and holes recombine, and due to this recombination, there is a depletion layer. Electron will go there, it will go there. So the polarity changes like this, and there is a region called depletion layer, and there is an electric field due to the separation of charge. The charges are separated, so there is a region. Across this region, it is called the junction field. The electric field is there, and if you bias it through a battery, it is called forward bias. If P is connected to higher terminal of the battery, and if reverse the polarity, it is called reverse biasing. The width of the depletion layer is proportional to the V minus VB power half, and you have to take the sign of VB as well. For forward bias, VB is positive, and for reverse bias, VB is negative. So if you use a same battery for both the cases, then for forward biasing, V minus VB will be smaller, whereas for reverse bias, V minus VB will be greater, because in reverse bias VB is negative. So negative and negative becomes positive, and this quantity will increase. So depletion layer in reverse bias is larger then the depletion layer in the forward biased. And let's talk about the Zener diode. Zener diode is nothing but only a reverse biased PN junction diode. Okay.